Let's bring in Andrew Wheeler, former EPA administrator. Andrew, great to see you. We should be specific here. There were actually two decisions. There was a case itself involving a family called the Sackett's family. They've been trying for about 19 years to build on their own property, but they had essentially a wet ditch, which if it is very heavy rain, spilled into a little stream that spilled into a lake, and that's why it was called a wetland. That was kind of a ridiculous definition of a wetland, no?
Well, it was. And first of all, let's just go back. This started in the 1970s with Congress defining waters of the U.S. as navigable waters. And it's been expanded ever since by both the courts and by agencies through regulation. The Obama administration did the most expansive definition ever, and they used to test what they call the significant nexus, which is if you have, and this is on a case-by-case basis, if you have a wetland, it could be 5-10 miles away from a navigable water, but if it's somebody from the Army Corps in granting a permit or somebody from EPA on an enforcement action looked at it and said, this could actually influence, or this is too close to a river 10 miles away, there's a significant nexus. In the Trump administration, we pushed that back, and we got rid of significant nexus, and we looked at adjacent wetlands next to waterways. The Supreme Court yesterday, 9-0, agreed with us on getting rid of significant nexus. So when Chuck Schumer says MAGA court, you're right. He's referring to all 9 justices of the Supreme Court.
Crazy rhetoric.
And they basically went with our definition of waters of the U.S. The Biden administration came in. They got rid of our definition. They put in place a more expansive definition that goes back to a lot of the things that were in the Obama rule, which the court struck down. And I really feel sorry for the Sackett family here. This is the second time they've had to go to the Supreme Court and in order to use their property, which is, I believe it's less than an acre. An acre, right. And it never should have been considered
19 years. 19 years they've been wet. And how many thousands and thousands of people are there and families around the country that have a similar situation? I mean, it's great that it went to the Supreme Court because we really had to see the face of how this affects regular Americans. Now, there's something called a REINS Act. REINS. It stands for Regulations from the Executive in Need of Scrutiny. That would give Congress the power to approve or disapprove of any regulatory position. A lot of them, of course, dealing with the EPA. That would cost Americans $100 million overall every year. Is there any chance for something like that passing through Congress?
Well, we do have the Congressional Review Act, which is currently in place and allows Congress to veto a regulation, and that has the current Congress. There's been several instances of the current Congress reining in the Biden administration, but then President Biden vetoes, and we don't have a veto proof in the House or the Senate. So it is difficult because you'd have to have the White House as well. I do want to assure the public, though, that this is not the end of clean water, nothing like that at all. Most states, in fact, all states have some sort of regulations on their books. Most states have their own regulations that go beyond the federal government. I live in Virginia. Our regulations are tighter than the federal government's. So this is we're not going to see dirty water. We're not going to see a lot of pollution. That's a scare tactic by the White House, by some of the environmental groups, and by the environmental groups to try to raise money off of this.
Well, something that liberals say is a scare tactic by conservatives is the attack on stoves and on a whole lot of appliances, air conditioners, et cetera. But on stoves in particular, the Congress is trying to prevent the federal government, and they were doing it through the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Of course, the commissioner of that said, no, we weren't going to do it. But it's clear that they were trying to get rid of gas stoves as an attack on all fossil fuels. What do you think about that? Is that because I know on a state level, we had New York State, where I live, just saying that new buildings can't plumb in the natural gas for stoves in the new buildings. So it is taking place on state by state. But is there any chance that the federal government could do something like that?
Well, and we did see the start of that with the Consumer Product Safety Commission referencing a study that was a bogus study. It ended up being funded by an environmental organization, and there is no health impact on having gas stoves in your home. Not to pick on Senator Schumer again, but just when that all came out, he announced nobody is trying to take away your gas stove, and then shortly after that, the state of New York passed a regulation to take away your gas stove. But what's really important here, while the federal government may not be trying to take away your stove, they're trying to limit the ability to bring new natural gas power lines to your neighborhoods, and they're doing it through permitting. Yes. And right now, as part of the debt ceiling negotiations, part of that negotiations is on permitting reform. And the administration wants to limit permitting reform just to renewable power. And the Republicans are pushing for it to include natural gas pipelines. So this is still very much a live issue at the federal level, because if they can't take away your gas stove, they're trying to limit the amount of natural gas that can be drilled across the country, and they're also trying to limit putting pipelines in to deliver the natural gas to your home.
Well, the bottom line is they're trying to limit the productivity of America. I mean, a lot of these rules would do a tremendous damage to any ability to grow. For example, new restaurants aren't going to be growing in New York as a result of this new rule, at least in new buildings. It's going to do terrible damage to productivity in America. We got to leave it at that. Andrew Wheeler, great to see you. Thank you very much. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.